career and product management. Um, so yeah, to be interactive, we would discuss. And also, I don't know, I just get a slide together, which is what I use most times about me. But I don't think I need to say anything about this slide again because Elizabeth, sorry, has said practically everything that we see on this slide right now. So I'll skip this. Yeah, so based on the topic, right? First of all, let me just like put it out to everybody. Like, what is our current understanding of what product management is before I even speak to what's on the slide? Does anybody have an understanding of what product management is? We can use the charts to make it interactive.
I can actually help you call names. So
Um,
Grace
so
over
um,
to Toby, please. So
okay, so product management is managing products from the ideation to launch and to execution and to beyond. So that's like a basic overview of what product management is.
Okay, I think that's a solid answer. If anybody else wants to try, feel free while I go back to my full screen. And one, two, and three. Okay, nobody. All right. Yeah, so we can go with that example. I think that's a perfect example. So if you check this slide at the moment, what I have here is product management involves overseeing the development, marketing from conception to launch and beyond, which is exactly, I believe, what you said. So spot on. Then I also have a second definition, which is product management is a process of developing, doing market releases, managing a product or a service, and also just to know that the product manager is responsible for the success or failure of the product, right? So which means you can definitely have a successful product and also you can have a failed product, right? And as the leader of the product management team, you facilitate collaboration with cross-functional teams and ensure that product meets both the business goals and the customer needs. Now, one of the reasons why I think product management is useful is if you sit down and think about it today, right? I don't think there's any company that exists today without having a product that they sell or a service that they offer. Like, does anybody know about a company that does not have a product or a service? No, right? Is that yes or no? I think everywhere is quiet.
people can unmute or
Okay, okay. Um, it sounds like maybe let's say most of the people here are shy. But yeah, we can not at all. Okay, just looking at the charts. Okay, I think we can use the chat to interact. That's fine. All right, so the answer is no. And before I added this slide before I even joined, I was like, do you know what? Why exactly is product management useful? I mean, because most people say product managers, what exactly are you doing? And sometimes product management tends to like say, oh, I'm doing stakeholder collaboration, and but in summary, like the one answer why to the question, why do you need a product manager is you can see a representation of a house on the left hand side. And by the way, I mean, you can have a house that is fine, but this is just an example because somebody will say, what do you mean by home and house? But on the left hand side, we have an image that represents the house. And on the right hand side, we have the home. So, in summary, if you're ever asked why exactly do you need a product manager, the answer to that question is a product manager gives you a home, and not having one gives you a house. Now, the reason why you might tend to get a house is you have so many people doing like hard work. You can see them doing the construction. So, and like people are working, but the person that understands that full picture, that does the stakeholder management, that does the interaction, that has that eye for quality, you can see that representation on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, you have a better picture. You have your windows, you have things in the right place. You have the windows at the top. On the left-hand side, somebody's just building one window. You're never sure where the entrance is, So, a PM a PM product manager brings that like direction, coordination to give you the perfect picture of what you expect. And not having one will most likely, you would work, but it won't give you what you expect. Right. And since we are talking about building a career in PM, what are some of the key responsibilities of a PM? There are lots, but I just picked some important ones. So the first here is understanding market needs and trends. So basically, as a PM, one of your responsibilities would be knowing what's happening in the markets, in knowing what are the industry trends. So if you are the fintech market, for example, maybe in Nigeria, you know that there's a lot of, in the fintech market, the POS products, it tends to generate a lot of revenue. Just being aware of that, is also one of the role of a product manager. The second thing will be defining your product vision and the strategy. So the vision is, where do you expect your product to get in the next 5 years? Most people don't really think about that, but it's also important because it gives you a direction, right? It's a company without a direction will most likely go nowhere. So bringing that vision to the products, and the strategy is more around, you have a problem, what's the perfect way to solve the problem, right? What's your strategy, your plan, your action plan around how to solve that problem? Then the third point here is collaborating with cross-functional teams. So just like the previous picture where you have a building, if you have to be a builder of a house, you have to like speak with the person that will get you the metal, get the cement, speak with the carpenter for the wood, speak with the plumber for the. So just in the case of a house, right? A PM is a builder for a house, but in this case, in a product, you're interacting with the developers, the different individuals that come together to build our products. That's what I mean by cross-functional team. So you're like the connecting dots to every single interaction to reach your end goal. And prioritizing features and enhancements. So generally, just the way we have life, in a day, you might have like 50 things you need to do, but definitely you have 24 hours. So you can't do everything. The same applies to PM. You might have like 1,000 things you need to do in 3 months, but you can't do all those 1,000 things. So basically, which one of them becomes more important? And facilitating that discussion, is also one of the roles of a PM. Stakeholder management is just interacting with people, managing them, sharing updates, just that interaction, management, stakeholders, management, and also monitoring the product performance. So like we saw, a product can be successful or a product can be successful, but it can also fail. So how do you track the performance to be sure that you're on the right direction to build a successful product? All right. And if you look at the key summary on the, I think one thing to also note here is I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to transfer to PM. How do I start again from the beginning? Transferable skills from your current role or your previous role can also be useful. And what do I mean? So, for example, imagine I've been a software engineer before, and when I transition to be a PM, some things that apply as a software engineer, still make sense. Or you've been a customer support before. Customer support simply means you manage people that are very difficult. So you're already doing stakeholder management, but it's not, nobody really tells you. So imagine being a customer support transitioning to a PM. Some skills you have before are still definitely useful. So what are some other PM responsibilities? You have the product life cycle, which is just the stages that your products go through. You have your goal setting. That's just like you're trying to build a feature, maybe a checkout feature. The goal of the checkout feature is to accept payments. Just defining those things. We talked about the vision and the strategy. Distribution plan is you have a product. How do you want to distribute it to the market? You might not necessarily be the one to do that part. You might maybe work with a different team to say, okay, marketing team, you do marketing, sales. I have a product. What is your plan? So it doesn't necessarily mean you're the one doing everything. Industry trend, feedback, getting feedback from customers. Is my product good? Is my product bad? Doing research about your markets and your users. I talk about market research, which like the fintech, just knowing what's happening in your market. Data analysis, not necessarily, again, you can have a department that does this, but all you're trying to do is you're trying to use data to understand, to make some decisions. Coordination, team meetings, those stakeholder management, just interacting with people. Backlog and MVP for primarily under prioritization. You have a list of things to do. How do you make sure that you decide, you make the best decision on what you're going to do, and what are the justifications that you have to convince anyone that that's the right thing to do. And as we know, documentation, whatever you're doing, you need to document it so somebody else can reference it. And business objective support is not primarily a responsibility of a PM though. But yeah, it's just about aligning whatever you're doing with the objectives. So business objectives. So for example, you can't be in a company that manufactures maybe earphones, and you're going to go and build a product build a glasses product. I mean, there's no alignment. So you need to ensure that whatever product you're building aligns with whatever the company is doing. Are there any questions so far before I move on? Are there any questions? Nope. Okay. Just give me. I like the interaction bit, so you can give me a signal in the chat, even if you don't want to speak. All right. Cool. All right. So let's go. So another thing that's important again is your soft skills. PM falls under technology business. And in the business world, your soft skills are important, right? So on your communication, leadership, negotiation skills, because you interact with different departments, stakeholders that also have different strong, personal abilities. And what are some of the soft skills, communication skills? So right now, I'm doing a presentation, speaking with everybody. Some people might not really be comfortable speaking, even virtually to an audience, but as a PM, that's probably one of the things you would also do. And over time, you would improve. I don't think there's been any product manager that was perfect from the beginning. So I personally, for example, I think there was a time I used to maybe not be I wasn't so comfortable speaking to virtual audience, because I mean, some people ask you different questions, you're not ready for them. But over time, read more so that you can be able to answer more questions from the audience. Over time, got myself in positions where I'm speaking with maybe 600 people in virtually, and over time your confidence builds with time. So it's an incremental thing. So yeah, your leadership skills also are important, because as a PM, you're a leader, right? You're leading people, just like you're building a house. You definitely meet people that will want to go in different directions, in the wrong direction. A leader will say, okay, do you know what, come in this direction, and you guide them. Also, your analytical skills and your problem solving skills. You solve a lot of problems, because I mean, you're building a product to solve a problem, right? Nobody's going to nobody's going to give a company for a product that is not solving a problem. So definitely, as a PM managing that product, you're already solving a problem. And also understanding your technology and market dynamics, just know what's happening in the market, right? So for example, I'm in the AV industry, maybe the electronic vehicle industry. I know Tesla is already a big player. If I'm not aware of that, I might just be doing things off what people actually want from Tesla. But me being aware of that means, okay, I can research about Tesla. And so, okay, Tesla is a big player in the market. What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? Maybe I can even copy what they're doing right and learn from what they're doing wrong, and improve in my own product. So that's just understanding about the market, and also the technology that you're going to use to build matters. Customer-centric mindsets. You're building a product and the customer tells you, oh, I don't think what you've done it's not good. And you say, no, you can't tell me that, because I have the best product in the world. I mean, even Instagram today, Facebook today, the big players in the industry would not come and say, oh, your feedback is nonsense. They would always accept customer feedback, improve on it, and try to satisfy, that customer. And that's just primarily having a customer-centric mindset. And the last point here is the ability to adapt and thrive in fast-paced environments. Well, this is probably more about being maybe resilient and can vary. You might work in companies where it's not really fast-paced and you don't need to do anything. You just bother yourself. You might also find yourself in a very fast-paced environment where things are moving very fast, and you just need to. Maybe one of the skills that will come there at some time will be maybe time management. You know, how you get to plan your day properly. Um, so, for example, maybe on my day to day, I spend the first 15 minutes, saying, "Oh, what do I have to do for the day?" And that first 15 minutes is what I used to plan my day. Okay, these are the key things I'm going to do. These are the three most important things I'm going to do. Okay, these are the five. Even if I don't do them, no problem. But basically, just time management. And for the soft skills, there's a bullet point there that says, while formal education in product management is beneficial, it's not always necessary. So degrees in business engineering, I that fields are common amongst PM here. But I know a lot of product managers today, or some product managers that they don't even have a university degree. So I think that's also one of the flexibility of being in technology and also being a PM. Is that if you're good at what you do, I mean, you could also skill without necessarily having a degree. I mean, Elizabeth, please, you can also like give me heads up to say maybe 15 minutes more, 20 minutes more, so that I'm sure I'm on track with your time.
All right.
All right. Okay. Next point here is, how do you gain experience? So just like a product manager a product manager is a builder, you can't, in a case of a builder, you can't really, I mean, nobody's really going to give you a builder's job to build a house of so many millions when you don't know what you're doing. But you're lucky. I mean, in this case, it's a bit different. And you can actually gain experience, one, by seeking internship or entry-level positions, And sometimes internships are not paid. Even like 2 years ago, is it 2 years or 3 years ago, I joined an internship. Just imagine after working for maybe 6 years, I'm still joining an internship, right? I did an internship and I was there for maybe like 2 years. And all I was trying to do really was, I want to meet some smart people and know how they think. I want to learn from them, even if I knew what I was doing. So, I mean, internship doesn't just apply to someone that is trying to get into the field. It can also apply to someone that is also experienced. Then you can also volunteer for, I mean, volunteer with somebody, you're working somewhere, somebody, they're trying to do something, or maybe just a tax. And the tax is just, can you write the features for this product? I mean, say you can do it, that's already an experience if you know how to sell it well. And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, I remember my final year project. There's a particular guy in my course. We all did a final year project, and this guy, I don't think this guy did anything, right? Or he did something, but not as intense and difficult like what most other people did, right? But the way he spoke and presented his projects, it was just so convincing that this guy did the best work. And the point I'm trying to make here is, you might just write the features of a product, and somebody else might build a product. But if both of you ask the question and the person that built the product says, "Oh, I built a product, my product is the best," but you that built the feature come and say, "Oh yeah, I built a feature because I really understood the problem, and this is a problem that really impacts the whole of Africa." Basically, the way you present whatever you've done passes the message as regards your capacity, no matter how small it is. So the point I'm trying to make is, it's never too small. It all depends on how you present it. And the third point here is, build and showcase your portfolio. So yeah, formalize it, make it a document that you can always show to people. And you can also work on a capstone project, right? Just pick a project, and do capstone projects. I think when I finished school, for example, I was trying to go into website design at some point, and the way I built my case study was, I said, you know what, I'm going to build my website myself, paid for everything myself, and use WordPress. Did one, spent a lot of time struggling, but my first portfolio was my website. And when I tell people, "Oh, I design website," they're like, "What have you done?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, see this website," but I never tell them, I mean, it's mine. But yeah, that was my portfolio. So the point there is, you don't really have to wait for you to get into a company and say, "Oh, employ me, let me do a capstone." You can always create your own capstone project. And basically, gaining experience requires taking the smallest first step. So that's one of the ways you can gain experience. And something else to note in building your career in PM also would be networking and professional development, right? So networking never stops. I'm here today, for example, because apart from sharing knowledge and speaking, I'm also here to network. I've made a lot of friends in speaking communities. Maybe after speaking, they reach out to me on maybe LinkedIn. So I like what you talked about. We connect, and basically I've created some valuable connections beyond the work environment, right? But that's probably because I've put myself in a position to make those things happen and build those relationships. So the same thing, you can also achieve this by, how can you achieve this? Attending industry events. I go for industry events, meet people, conferences, meetups, join online communities. I've joined so many online communities, forums, about PM. You can also seek internship from experienced people if they have any opportunity. Network through LinkedIn, I mean, don't just network and just connect. I mean, like say something valuable. Maybe I'm working on something important. I mean, let your connection message be something that would be of interest. Continuously update your skills. I think that's also important. Seek for opportunities in cross-functional experience. It doesn't really matter even if it's not PM. If it's a role that is close to PM, for example, customer support, that comes. Some people have gotten into companies just by starting as a customer support, and maybe after 1 year, there's a role within that same company that is PM, the transition, but they've built enough skill and they know they are going in that direction. So you can also seek cross-functional experience, stay curious, be adaptable, lead to valuable mentorship, job opportunities, and insight into the field, and also seek feedback. I mean, you will never know everything. If you're a lead PM, for example, if you're trying to get a lead PM, anyway, personal experience, trying to get a lead PM role, and one of the questions I was asked was primarily feedback, right? And the reason why they asked that question is they know you're experienced and you know a lot, but literally they're like, okay, we know you know a lot, but do you accept feedback? And as simple as just communicating that you don't accept feedback can be just a small thing alone, right? Can make you not get a role. So it's not even at this time, it's not really about how much you know, it's about how much you are willing to still learn. So meet people, when you start your career journey, just like you've met me today, and I've also met all of you that are in this meeting now. And also, it's also important to know that learning never stops. Learning never stops. Learning never stops, especially in technology. I mean, new technology will come out every day, new certifications. There would always be something to learn. Started my career as a normal PM in different industry. Now I have interest in artificial intelligence and Internet of and the pattern it is I need to learn a lot different, right? So it's just like it's just like I'm an intern right now, right? In trying to learn AI and IoT. And so I'm like starting a journey again. So learning never stops irrespective of how long you've been in the field or your experience. And I never knew this was my last. So that the last slide really is I'll give a summary before I speak on this conclusion. And just like we saw on that previous slide let me go back there quickly, of this house and the home. So see yourself in all these things I've said, see yourself as a builder, right? Yeah, a builder. Oh, let's just say a customer wants to build a house, has so much money, and they give that money to developers building the house. So, you know what? Or the bricklayers, call all of them together and take the money. Now, what's going to happen is they will buy cement, but it might not be the best quality. They'll buy plumbing material, it might not be the same quality, and they'll build the house. So the person has saved maybe 100 M, and I mean, they can build the house, let's say 80 M. So, okay, do you know what? They might even want to keep the remaining 20 M. But now the PM, you're the builder. So now imagine you taking that money. The plumber is there and wants to buy material that is not the best quality, but you're like, no, don't try that. You get the best quality plumbing material, best quality windows, best quality maybe bricks. In some cases also, imagine where developers want to fight and nobody's there to really coordinate. You're also there to say, no, that's not the way to go about it. You also coordinate them. So just imagine building a house without that builder overseeing it. So look at yourself as that builder. So as a PM, you're a builder. And once you think of yourself as a builder, then you begin to see the value that you bring to the table as a PM. And in conclusion, really, building a successful career in PM requires a combination of skills, experience, and like I said earlier, ongoing learning. So stay passionate, adaptable, and be proactive in pursuing opportunities for growth. And remember that learning never stops. So, short presentation, but I think these are very, very solid points from the soft skills, some tips, and some strategies, how you can continue growing your career, networking, and development, and that can help you in building your career in product management. And I hope you enjoyed my brief and presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tunji. We'll take questions. I think David's hands has been up for a while now. But before that, I just want to quickly share with us what we do at Twitter Academy and our courses for those who are not familiar with what we do. I'll be sharing my screen now. Quickly rush through it within 5 minutes, then come back to just question and answer. So we are done with this session. So please take down questions so you can ask Tunji with over 10 years experience in product management, right? Give me a minute, please. All right. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Yes, you can. Slideshow. All right. So quickly, I'll just talk us through getting started in product management, things that you should take note of, right? From everything that Sanjay has said, you're probably wondering now, so how do I learn, right? What exactly do I do to get into product management field? Some things that we usually recommend is enrolling in a certified training institution and ensuring that your institution have access to trained professionals. They understand the principles guiding the course you are taking, and you also want to avoid the trial and error process, because when you learn on your own, you just know that you are trying certain things, you are not up to date with what is working, or with a facilitator or a teacher. That person has gone through all of those mistakes and currently knows what is working, right? You also have a mentor, you have course mates who you can learn with. You also get a certificate that is internationally recognized. So Jupiter Academy is partnered with CPD UK, a continuous professional development body that help people or professionals looking to get into tech get recognizable certificates. I'll quickly just walk us through what our product management mastery course entails. You would understand the roles and responsibilities of a product manager. You learn how to gather market research and customer insight. You learn developing product strategies, product vision, creating roadmaps, developing your pricing and go-to-market strategies. You learn product planning, prioritization, product launch, marketing performance, monitoring your product and iteration of products. You understand your product life cycle, importance of continuously improving your product. You also gain knowledge and experience in product metrics and analytics. You also learn agile development and principles, Scrum methodology and sprint planning, launching and marketing your product, working with cross-functional teams and stakeholder communications. Our courses are usually for 8 weeks. If you hear when we started, I did mention that 100% virtual, aside for Saturday live classes that is within 90 minutes, maximum of 2 hours. Talked about the internationally recognized certificate. We've had students even outside of Nigeria who took the course and were able to get jobs. So At Jupiter Academy, it's just not about learning. So you practice what you learn. What you should expect when you get started is practical examples, working on case studies, assignments that need to be done weekly. So you have an LMS where your courses are uploaded weekly, and you also have to do weekly assignments. If you do not finish your assignments for that week, you cannot go over to the next week, right? Um, this basically is not for you. Like I usually would say, if you currently are lazy, some of us can be, and you would need to continuously learn. So there are live classes you need to attend. There are recorded videos you need to listen to. There are resources, blog, videos, audio, webinars like this, to meet with people who are already in the field and experience to mentor you, ask certain questions. So you really need to be up and doing. And if you can follow instructions, right? Like I said earlier, if you do not do your assignments for that week, you most likely cannot proceed to the next one. That's because we want to be able to say that this person has gone through our training, and we can say, yes, this person is fit to be a product manager, intern, or associate product manager, or mostly in cases we've seen, people go straight to being a product manager. All right. And if you are comfortable taking food off your table, so if you are comfortable where you are, you're not looking to transition, you're not looking to position yourself better, this most likely would not be something you should consider. So I quickly broke down some of the things you'll be learning for all of this 8 week. For the first week, we'll be looking at introduction to product management, what it is, why it is important, key skills, responsibility, overview of your process, product management tools that you'll be using. And we'll also look at market research and customer insights, identifying opportunities and trends, gathering feedback, how to conduct a research, analyzing the data that you've gotten to help you inform your product decisions, right? Week 2, you focus on product strategy, defining your vision, creating your roadmap, prioritizing your features, pricing and go-to-market strategy. Week 3, we look at agile development and Scrum methodology, an overview of agile development principles, Scrum methodology and sprint planning, how to work with cross-functional teams and stakeholder communication. Before we look at product design and user experience, how do you understand your user need and behaviors, user-centered design principles, collaborating with designers and developers. In week 5, we look at product launch and marketing, launch plans, marketing campaigns to promote your product, measuring success and iterating on the product, right? In week 6, product metrics and analytics, KPIs, defining and tracking KPIs for your product, analyzing the data, using analytical tools to gain insight and make better data-driven decisions. With 7, you are managing your products. You are learning how to manage your product life cycle. You would learn how to manage product updates, product releases, the product life cycle, building strong relationship with your customers that help you get feedback on what you're working on. Yeah, and you also learn how to continuously improve your product and staying ahead of your competition. In week 8, we usually do a project, a capstone project, right? So what you will learn is working on project, everything you've learned from week 1 to week 7, you're putting into practice and you are presenting it. Usually it could be individual or group projects. They could group you and say work on this, or it could be individual, right? You share your projects, share insights that was gotten, get feedback, learn how to position yourself for job opportunities, CV and cover letter revamp and portfolio. While your facilitator will do this, we're also working with, or we've also worked with industry professionals with years of experience in human resource to gather help you have tips and strategies that work and can help you land a job in product management. Good thing is you have lifetime access to the elements, so you can always go back to learn, always go back to see what's been updated, right? Like I said, 8 weeks, 100% virtual, except for Saturdays for people who work and are asking how they're able to manage their schedule with taking a course. Our courses usually 90% per class for Saturdays, with a maximum of 2 hours, internationally recognized certificates, and all of these things that what I've said earlier that you'd learn, um, launching, developing, Scrum methodology, managing people, and all of those things. Now, there are bonuses for those who attend this webinar, right? Um, we usually share job opportunities with our students, and for a while, we always give people internship placement. Um, that's our best performing students per cohort. We recommend or um, connect you with startup who are looking for intern, not for everybody, only for people who do better, and for the entire cohort, not just product management, right? Usually, all of this would cost 400K, but I'm not even saying you should. It is not even up to that. If we half it, it is not still up to 250, not 150. Our courses go for 100,000 naira, right? 8 weeks, 100% virtual, 90 minutes minimum, and a certificate that is recognized, and 10% off for people who um, attend this webinar. So if you're attending this webinar, you get 10% off, and there is more. You also get an extra 10% off. That's like 20,000 naira of this for you to learn everything and position yourself to getting a job in product management, right? So this is not all as well. We always have webinars like this twice a month, and where we bring in industry professionals from different fields, come share their knowledge with people, especially trying to transition or getting started. The journey can be lonely, right? You can also be confused. It's an opportunity to speak to people, ask questions. So if you are looking to having a community that help you with your learning journey into tech, I would be dropping our Slack link for you to join. I would also be dropping our inquiry form for people who are interested in getting started with Jupiter Academy. You can just fill it and I would answer your question. I hope you people enjoyed my lead. I tried as much as possible to like be fast about it. So yeah, basically I look forward to speaking with you, and yeah, I would be dropping the links that I mentioned in the chat box. So just look at it. Thank you. Olatunji, over to you. Do we have questions? Can you people hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
All right. So somebody raised. Okay, Grace, over to you, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, so my question is, mention something like, if you want to like get an internship in product management, or I want to get like an entry role, you said like probably having a capstone project. Okay, what if the capstone project is not like enough to get the role? Because nowadays you see them saying 4 years of experience or something like that before someone could even be able to get an entry role. So what are the things that someone needs to do, or someone needs to like to improve in order to get those roles? That's my question.
all right. I think over to 20, but basically your capstone project is just help you build portfolio to answer the question, what have you done when you get into the door? But how do we even get inside the room from the door? 20, please, over to you. For entry level, how exactly do they get job with all of the years of experience we see people mention?
Yeah, I think for a capstone project, I mean, it might be sufficient to get you something. It also depends on the expectation of the company you're trying to get into. All right, I think some companies are actually fine with you having a capstone project. If you can really do your interviews well, that's fine. While at the same time, I've also seen some companies that actually ask for the interns, and I mean, the questions that they ask the intern. In fact, I had that experience of an intern reaching out to me, and I was like, "Is this an intern role?" Because it felt like a like a senior PM role with the questions. So maybe first of all, identify the companies that that have realistic expectations and are not trying to like use the individual. And to have a capstone project. Three is reach like learn PM and know the basics. I've also seen cases where some people do capstone project, but they don't really understand the basics of PM. I mean, if you know the basics of PM and you speak well in your interview, you might not really even need your capstone if you can convince people that you know what you're doing.
All right.
I think
Just because I paid attention as well, I remember Tunji mentioning networking. So LinkedIn, I think one of our students, she's not yet, but how she was able to get a job as soon as she was done was networking with people, reaching out to a professional, and then just saying, I recently just finished this. I don't know, create a messaging around that and tell them you're open to opportunities to, put into practice what you've learned. Could land you interviews or could just land you somebody who can hold your hands as well. Tunji, am I right?
Yeah, that helps also. Yeah.
A1. So any other question? Me, I have one too. So I'm
I have one.
feeling all right. Since I'm not the one here, yeah, you just speak, I will go next.
What? Yeah. So
We
my
can't hear
question.
you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
All right. I said thank you for the presentation and for the knowledge sharing, and thank you, Jupiter Academy, for what you do. I have a question. Okay, so for instance, you are working with a startup and then you sign a non-disclosure agreement because actually every startup is trying to make their intellectual property hidden and then go out there, make profit. They have competitors out there and they wouldn't want you to share any of their information on their product or services. And then you maybe have to go for an interview and then they're telling you to talk about the things you have done in the past and share your experiences. How do you navigate that kind of situation?
So if I get a question, well, you have an example of portfolios and you can't really share that, and in an interview they're asking you questions to talk about what you've done. Did I get the question correct?
Yeah.
Um, I think if they're asking you questions about what you've done, you don't necessarily have to like show anybody the products you've done. You can always speak to what you've done irrespective, because that's the only way you get a role. I mean, so if you're in an interview, your interview question will most likely fall around some PM things and maybe industry. So what is PM? Maybe an example. How do you do your market research? Those things do not really even apply to the products. So that's the first part. And the second part about the products is, okay, do you have experience in these products? You can always talk about how you handle things without necessarily talking about, without necessarily giving information about, like key information about the internal company or key information from the products, if that makes sense.
Okay, so there are some that may be inquiring because they want to see how successful you were at the last role with the resources and the available team and all of that that you had on ground, and then make a comparison whether you can be able to pull it through in their own enterprise or establishment. So talking about your success, like recording your success, maybe from revenue generation or from taking a product that was already launched, managing the life cycle and rejiggling it and revamping it and making a lot of profit and getting mass user base and all of that. Will it be something you can open up when it comes to like trying to brag a little about the success you have recorded?
Um, I don't want to use the word brag per se, but definitely for,
Sorry.
eh?
Yeah, sorry, I mentioned brag, but like
Yeah, yeah,
somehow
yeah. Yeah,
want
but
to.
yeah, you can always use the metrics. Like, is you can always use I personally use my metrics. So, for example, I'm currently working. I think in a short period, I hit a milestone. I hit a maybe a metric that was good, and I have that recorded somewhere personally as a person, so that I'm not like speaking about wrong figures. So yeah, the metrics are always important: user base, financials, milestone, percentage completion. Like I take note of those things.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So, did he answer your question?
Sure, he did.
All right, Fumilayo, you can unmute and speak now.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for the presentation so far. So my question is, I'm having issue balancing work with learning, right? Because I know how important continuous learning is. So can you please like share tips you think I can techniques I can use to also learn while I work?
All
Because
right.
I'm a product manager for a startup company. So thank you.
Yeah. Life coach, over to you. Tunji.
Who's the coach? Oh, that was somebody else. Hmm?
No, you're a life coach now.
Oh, life coach. I mean, yeah.
All right.
Um, I think the answer to that question, because I can also be like a very, very direct person, is just more work. I mean, I don't think there would always be time. It's always difficult to. I'm personally struggling to learn at the moment, and I think I spent a bit of. I think I woke up around like 5 a.m. to just commit 2 hours to learn. So I've been doing that incrementally instead of trying to. So instead of trying to like finish a full video in 1 week, I'm giving like 2 hours, 3 hours every day. So I've been doing that for a while. So yeah, I think it's more work and also doing it in bits. I think that's the only way you can beat having a busy schedule.
Yeah, for me, I want to chip in. It depends. If you want to do your self learning through self-paced courses, it's a different aspect. Or if you're not doing that, then you can. There are communities on Instagram, sorry, on LinkedIn that sometimes there's some that you can learn through by answering questions. Sometimes on LinkedIn you see questions being thrown to you, and then once in a while you go there, you look at how people have responded, and you are reading through it. And then there are some people who wrote articles on on some particular topics, or maybe depending on the situation at hand that you need the information about to put into the work you are doing. You can just search it up and look at it and read it up. And it mustn't be a full-time stretch of 3 hours, 5 hours, but you can commit maybe 1 hour in the morning while committing to work. If it is a place that has a lot of traffic, instead of being in the car and maybe being stressed at this traffic, you can use that time to put on your headset and listen to something or a podcast or something or read.
Oh, thank you so much. This is helpful too.
All right.
Though
Do
I
you have
still like
questions?
find it struggle. I still struggle to like even call online or that LinkedIn to like read stuff, right? But I think while on transit is something I can do. And thank you.
All right. So, I also recommend podcasts too, or you can listen to that in person. Helps. I don't know. So, any other question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question
All right. Toby.
is as a beginner,
Mhm.
like how easy is it to like monetize um
Mm.
this position, especially okay, now that you are probably done with a product management class, you know the basics, how easy it is to monetize, how can I monetize it like at the quickest amount of time?
All right. Olatunji.
Um, so I think my answer to that question is I think my answer to that question is first of all, I think if you are thinking about monetizing in the quickest amount of time, that's probably not the direction you should be taking. In as much as it is possible, I mean, I think when starting out your career, you also like money should be. I mean, money is important, but it should not really be the primary determinants because it is already evidence that if you are doing a career that was it what that the market has actually shown that can make you and I, if you're good in it, you would eventually still make the money. So it might be a case of, like you said, Elizabeth said, you do a training, you have your capstone project, you network with people, you keep on learning, you get into a company first. So look at it in bits. That's your first step. Once you get into a company, just realize that I think things will start working because I mean, even if you get into a company to 30K, I don't know, just an example, you're good. I mean, somebody else rules will increase before you know your salary will be increased. Before you know, if you're really good, maybe you try another job, you get an increased pay, and you probably eventually get to the financial parts you are trying to get to. But at the beginning, looking at that money, if you're offered, for example, maybe not something not so high at the beginning, most likely would have said, "Oh no, I'm not interested." And that might actually just be the first step to get your foot in the door for you to eventually make the money that you want to make.
Yeah, thank you so much. So did you get that?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for the presentation.
Yeah. So in summary, to earn money, just focus on being skilled, knowing it so well, the money will come and their jobs actually. So any other question? None. I think there's none again. So I wanted to ask Tunji how he was able to transition from being a software engineer to being a product manager. How was that phase for him as a beginner? What tip or um, what would I say, experience, something that can help people who are just starting or who are also looking to transition take? What are the lessons?
I think my transition is a bit funny because while I was a software engineer, I used to pick up side projects, building products. So I mean, I go and meet clients and, oh, you want to build this product? It doesn't necessarily have to be software. Sometimes data products. I'm like, okay, so I manage the people that do it. I mean, as we all know now, everybody's hustling. So that was like my own hustling. So yeah, after that time, I had some experience already with interacting with customers that I built over time. And when I transitioned, it was a bit difficult because I did not have some skills, like some basic skills, like maybe documentation, and those were things that were important for a business. So I struggled a bit. But over time, I think I spent about 6 months, 1 year reading, and improving. And now my writing skills are they're really really good, very very good. So yeah, the just I think acknowledging I kind of acknowledged that I was going to struggle for a bit, but I definitely knew the direction I was going, and I think that's one thing to know because in the transition phase you meet a lot of people that really I met a lot of people that are really really good and maybe doing quality work like 95%, and I was doing work like 50%. So sometimes you'd be like, oh, I can't, I'm not good. But I definitely knew like, oh, this I can do this. I was sure. So irrespective of what people thought, I think I kept my head strong, and yeah, that probably be one key lesson.
All right, thank you so much. Do you have any other question before we call it a day?
Please, do you transition within the same company?
Oh,
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
all right. Chukwemeka, you've been silent on the call. Any question?
No, I'm good. I'm just going to say that it's a good one. Anybody that wants to do this should do this. I'm an alumni. Thank you.
Oh, all right. All right then. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Tunji.
Yeah, you're welcome.